Are you recording?
I am recording, yes.
Listeners, it's difficult to say goodbye, but I think this week we have to say goodbye to a really important collaborator of Jimmy's who, based on this album, was really holding a lot of the evil back. Um,
Are you nominating this collaborator for a Secret Hero Award?
I am. I think that this
So you're doing
collaborator's
in
absence.
this is this
I
is in
think
the
this
same vein as
collaborator's
Don Gant.
Yeah, in the same vein as Don Gant, I think that this collaborator was holding back a lot of the evil, or more specifically, the fact of its absence signifies a particular. This is a eulogy for Jimmy's mustache. Um, I feel like the fact that Jimmy shaves off his mustache for this album legitimately is indicative of like a particular direction for Jimmy. That is like a problem. um, but I think everybody, whatever you got. I know some of you who listen to this listen to it in the mornings. Raise some coffee. I've got a little wine. Kyle's got some vodka. Please raise your glasses
We
to
are
Jimmy's
recording this
mustache.
in the evening, we should say.
I would be drinking if we were recording this at 10 in the morning. This album is difficult,
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
rest in peace, Jimmy's mustache. We owed more to you than we knew.
What am I supposed to write on the contribution? Would you say like keeping out the evil?
Sin Eater, write Sin Eater as the role.
Sin Eater.
I think Jimmy's mustache was a sin eater. Very seriously, I think that Jimmy shaving off his mustache is indicative of him being more concerned with his image.
I have a
In a
feeling that
and
this list is going to grow a lot, and it's going to get sillier and sillier as time goes on.
I think so. But like very seriously, I think that like Jimmy's mustache was like indicative of like it was one of the things that anchored him to the '70s. I feel.
Like
Yeah,
Jimmy
literally,
used to look like a hippie.
like a hooligan. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and now he looks like a dad who's vacationing.
he looks like he's Morris. He's
He's Morris.
basically
Yeah, he looks like
Morris,
Morris. That's Morris now.
which is also like
Um,
it's ironic because I found evidence to suggest that he and Jane are actually on good terms by now, but we'll get to that.
I would
Um,
suspect so. But anyway,
Away again, away again. Wasting away again, away again. Wasting away again. And Margarita the Bell. It's my own downfall.
fuck this album.
wow. Okay, welcome to Dischoreography, everybody.
Welcome to this
I'm
choreography.
Kyle,
I'm Tom.
and
Uh,
today we're talking about Jimmy's first
Thank
mustacheless album since his first.
hot water.
And boy, oh
Yeah,
boy, is Jimmy in a lot of hot water with us.
Jimmy's in a lot of hot water with us.
So
This album is.
I just want to say, like, right up at the top, like, I think we both collectively agree that this is, like, definitely a bottom tier Jimmy album so far.
I think it is either as bad or worse than One Particular Harbor.
Yeah,
I
so,
think I'm gonna wait to make that particular judgment call until we finish our discussion.
see, the thing about that one particular judgment is that the only peer is One Particular Harbor, but here's the thing about One Particular Harbor. The production sucks, and it
Yeah.
would still suck if it was produced better. But if it produced better, it would be at least 20% more listenable, and that might help it. This album doesn't have the benefit of the doubt because it sucks even with good production.
I'm kind of skeptical as to this argument because I think that like the argument of it being like potentially better if it was produced properly is like part of the thing is that like it is produced terribly, right? And the thing about this album is that it is produced better and like still sucks almost as bad,
Well, I mean, that's
if
what I'm
not worse.
saying, is that you have that benefit of the doubt. You're like, okay, there's potential for this album to be maybe the second worst album instead of the worst album we've listened to so far. Well, actually, what do I have as the second worst album? Is
Rancho
it?
Lux probably.
Oh, it's Rancho Deluxe. Yeah,
We
if it.
both the bottom of our lists all like are like they coalesce in like the bottom four slots as Volcano, Changes, Rancho, and One Particular Harbor.
Honestly, I mean, so this I think is the week that the Period Heads really are going to kill us if they're going to kill us. Is
Yeah,
that
definitely.
at the very bottom of the list, we have One Particular Harbor, which they love, they cite as among his best.
Yeah.
And we're putting it on the same level as this atrocious album, which they also hate.
They also love you mean.
No, they also hate it. So the idea
Okay,
that the
okay.
idea that they've been disagreeing with us so far, and then we're saying this album that they hate is on the same level as the album that they love, that's going to rack their brains.
Maybe so. I'm gonna be honest with you, Kyle. I don't think any Parrotheads are listening. I think if there were Parrotheads who were listening to our show, they would have turned off quite a while ago. To be honest, if you're like a serious Parrothead and you're still listening, please sound off in the comments about how you would like to commit acts of violence upon our persons. But you know what? We should take a moment to revel in our glorious shining citadel away from Jimmy. Kyle, what have you been listening to this week that wasn't recorded by Jimmy?
Well, I've been listening to a specific artist that actually is quasi-connected to this album, so I won't talk about him here. I'll talk about him when his song comes up. The other thing I've been listening to is it's 1988, and so I listened to what I think is probably my favorite album from 1988. I don't remember too many albums off the top of my head from 1988, and it's one I've mentioned before on this podcast, but it's Leonard Cohen's I'm Your Man. I think that's probably his best album. Either that or The Future, probably, from 92. There's something about when Leonard got up into his 50s and his voice got a lot deeper and croakier from all of the drinking and smoking, and just like the synth noises. He got really big into like heavy synth in the mid 80s, and it's really good because there's got this like really like dark like if you like Tears for Fears' like debut album, like is it Dark Wave? They call it Dark Wave, where it's like it's new wave, sure, but it's supposed to be about like really dark gothic things. It sounds like that. It's fantastic.
Maybe I'll listen to that because I haven't heard this particular album.
So I'm Your Man is pretty good.
I just was thinking like I'm not sure what albums came out in 1988, so I decided to go look and see if I could think about what my personal favorite is. That is the year that I think most like I don't know if it's the most underrated, but I think that like unfairly maligned by certain people, 1988 Talking Heads album Naked came out. Which I think is like there's some people who really hate it for reasons that I am not really clear on, because I think it's like a totally reasonable Talking Heads release.
Talking Heads has been in your mind recently, hasn't it, though? Because you went to see David Byrne this week, didn't you?
Yeah, on Wednesday, me and my partner Eliza drove down to Portland to see David Byrne live, which was fun. It was both of our first time seeing him live.
And he didn't cover Jimmy.
He didn't cover Jimmy, no. He played a lot of songs off the new album and a couple of other songs off of his solo records. And, you know, like half the show was old Talking Heads like songs, which is predictable, but not bad. You know, obviously I love Talking Heads, so that was fine.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic experience to see David Byrne perform like, you know, like a Life During Wartime or Once in a Lifetime live. Once in a Lifetime he did really great. But he also did Air, which I think is an underrated Talking Heads cut, which you could tell it was because everybody would get up to dance even if the song was not danceable, if it was a Talking Heads song, but they didn't recognize Air. Somebody be like, oh, what solo album is that off of? And it's like, you are a dumbass and a motherfucker.
It's fun when artists dig deep into their discography and pull out, you know, a deep cut for, you know, who doesn't do that is Jimmy Buffett. He doesn't.
No,
He used to do that, and he's going to stop doing it pretty much.
We should talk about Jimmy, I guess.
Yeah,
on this podcast about Jimmy.
Speaking of the tour, Jimmy in 1987 is 40, so he puts out the Pirate Looks at 40 tour. Except
totally reasonable tour title.
It's the Parrot Looks at 40 tour, so less reasonable.
I'm gonna resurrect him and kill him.
So Marshall Chapman, who co-writer of a few songs on Last Mango in Paris, and also one song on this album, she's touring with him in 87 and 88. He's got horns in the touring band now, off the back of Floor Days, which had quite a few songs with horns. Nothing else notable. Usual suspects, Utley, Fingers, Greenwich, those guys. He does 62 shows, 87, 52, and 88. In April 1987, he does 3 or 4 shows with this sort of stripped back band that he labels the King Kong Trio, which they're all members of the Coral Reefers. Do you want to guess which Coral Reefers are in the King Kong Trio? Jimmy's not counted in the trio, I should say.
If I was going to guess that Jimmy was going to grab 3 coral reefers to play with solo, it would obviously be Michael Utley and Fingers and Robert Greenwich.
So you are completely correct, and you are also wrong, because there's actually 4 people in the trio, because Sam Clayton is also there on congas. Yeah, and he's performing with them. That's fun.
So
he's doing like a Ben Folds 5 in reverse.
So he's doing some sort of weird like Kingston trio bit. That's the right? Like obviously that's what's happening. It's not even a trio.
He also has like a Godzilla costume that I think I mentioned last week. He had a roadie who was like dancing around a parrot costume previously, right? On stage. Now he's in a Godzilla costume, and it's the same Godzilla costume that appears in the music video where Jimmy's in a Godzilla costume in the music video for Homemade Music. So it might be in regards to like Godzilla versus King Kong. Who the hell knows? I know because Jimmy's a nerd, right? He'd go watch that movie. When did that movie come out?
King Kong?
Godzilla versus King Kong wasn't 1962. Jimmy probably did see it then, yeah. And it also makes total sense for Jimmy to wait until 1987, 25 years after the movie came out, to reference it.
Now it's nostalgic, right?
Yeah, and so he's also in some weird situations. By the way, at the beginning of the summer tour, I think, like in May or June of 87, that's when he shaves off the mustache, I think. Jimmy's cropping up in some weird places. So in 86, as you and I know, the Space Shuttle Challenger explodes shortly after launch. Tragic disaster. When they do a dedication for a plaque in Lake Placid, Florida, to the Challenger disaster, with all of the names of all of the brave souls on the aircraft or the spacecraft, it features the chorus from Jimmy Buffett's song "Beyond the End," which is, I mean, why is it Jimmy and why is it that song?
I have to be 100% honest with you. I don't remember which song this is or what album it's on.
That's the one that Roy Orbison sings on right at the end of Last Mango in Paris.
Beyond the End. Yeah,
it was
I remember it.
Our AHAG award that week.
It was so forgettable.
Case in point. Jimmy also testifies before Congress around this time about the reauthorization of the Endangered Species Act, which makes sense. You know, he's been involved to save the manatees and stuff. He's also,
as is usual, like Jimmy politically is like totally fine. Like,
he's totally into environmentalism. In 87, he's spending pretty much the entirety of the year when he's not on tour working on like benefit shows to save the Key West salt ponds, which are like the last undeveloped parts of Key West. It's 407 acres that he was trying to get like on a conservation list to be bought and protected by the state government of Florida.
You got to respect that.
Yes, and by 87 they are in state hands for conservation, which is nice.
You know what, Jimmy? Well done. We're not going to say a lot kindly about you this episode, so well done on this.
There are a few developments that go up later on parcels of the salt flats or the salt ponds. Do you want to take a wild guess as to one of the current develops sitting on top of them?
Is it a Margaritaville?
It is a Margaritaville resort.
Well, Jimmy, I'm taking that back. Fuck you, burn in hell. Like, what the hell is that?
He's expanding his influence in Key West by a lot. The Margaritaville store moves to a bigger space. It actually moves on to Duval Street, which we've mentioned before. It's one of the main thoroughfares, like central hub of Key West. The Margaritaville restaurant is going to also be on Duval Street on like that same block by December. And then in 87 as well, Jimmy builds Shrimp Boat Sound, which is going to be his studio in Key West. He's going to record parts of Hot Water and then at least parts of every other album that he'll ever do at Shrimp Boat Sound in Key West. Yeah, so we're back to stay in Key West. Do you want to know what he does in 1988?
I'm very poisoned against Jimmy at this time from this album and the everything. So no, but I do have to know for the podcast.
So first off the bat, the first thing we learn about Jimmy in 88 is that he has a golden retriever now named Cheeseburger.
Oh, that's fun.
And then,
If we-
here is a nice thing sandwiched between two awful things. So
Yeah,
in
that's fine.
April, in the April 1987 or April 1988 issue of Coconut Telegraph, I get some information that makes me think that he and Jane are on good terms again. Which is that Christian Cochran writes this story for the Coconut Telegraph. He's one of Jimmy's roadies. And he's describing a job that he was given to drive from Key West up to New York City and pick up stuff at Jane Buffett's apartment and take them to Martha's Vineyard because Jimmy was planning on staying there for a few weeks between the tour legs. So they're staying together for a couple weeks at Martha's Vineyard. That might be just, a nice vacation with the whole family because you're taking your daughter too. But
Yeah.
it shows that he is like amicably co-parenting at least sometimes with Jane, which is definitely
We
an
know
improvement
that's-
from what we know has been happening.
We know that this is around the time, like late 1980s, is like we talked a lot about how like last album pointed a lot in the direction of reconciliation. It feels like
Well, none
I
of
would- I would
that
love
at
to
all.
say that-
None of his relationship is on this album because
No, I
there
don't
is
think
nothing
so.
deep on this album.
No, not really. Not in the slightest. No, he tries a couple of times, but it doesn't work. We know that this is around the time that they like become back together for good. Sometime either like in '88 or in the next couple of years, they're going to be together again. So, which is
Yeah.
honestly good for Jimmy. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, so the other big thing that happens for him in 88 is that him and his daughter co-write a children's book, and it's called The Jolly Mon. So there is absolutely no doubt in anyone's mind now that Jolly Mon Singh was definitely a whimsical jimsicle. So the other thing is that like Jimmy is actually still touring really well, like drawing huge crowds. In Chicago, 1988, he plays to a crowd of 23,000, and it was only matched that year at that venue by John Cougar Mellencamp and Huey Lewis and the News.
It's so wild that like Jimmy is like
He's
this
had
because
like
it's
pretty much no chart success whatsoever.
the charts don't touch him. His albums don't sell, and he draws sellout crowds everywhere he goes, almost every time for
Yeah.
the entire decade.
I mean, he's
And will
got his
continue to do
cult
so pretty much
following.
until he's dead.
Yes.
Like, which
So,
might be
yeah.
connected to him referencing them specifically on the cover of this album. He's doing the fin on his head on the cover.
Yeah, well, and he definitely references the following he has in the first verse of the first song on the album, as you can see in the music video. But we'll get to that. So Hot Water releases in June 1988. He actually does have a minor adult contemporary hit on this album.
He does?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you which yet because I want you to guess when we come to that song. Because I don't think you're gonna guess. I think you're going to be very surprised by which one hit number 24 on the AC chart.
No Scope, Baby's Gone Shopping.
Not that. There are tons of musical cameos on this album. There's Steve Winwood, Steve Cropper, Grover Washington Jr., Rita Coolidge, James
Rita
Taylor,
Coolidge is here.
Tim Schmidt, and the Neville Brothers. Jimmy covered Why You Want to Hurt My Heart on One Particular Harbor, and of course references them in the outro to Homemade Music. The May 1988 Coconut Telegraph predicted that the album is sure to go platinum. It does not. It doesn't even go gold. Coconut Telegraph refers to the album in its year-end Jimmy review as having quickly rose to the top 40 according to Billboard and Rolling Stone magazines. It hit number 46. So not quite the top 40.
Yeah, that's a misinterpretation.
Yes. They've got some bad sources, or they're deliberately trying to make Jimmy look good. Which, given that it's a fanzine that is produced by his own fucking store, I got nothing else on context. I don't really want to talk about this album, but
my entire context section for this, my notes says "kill me." That's all it says.
Okay, well, folks, that's the context for Tom. To just continue with the rest of this episode under the lens of that Tom wants to be killed. The album opens with Homemade Music, which is a song that Jimmy and Utley wrote with Russ Kunkel, studio drummer. Yeah.
I don't hate musically how this song
No,
starts.
musically, this song is definitely like a 5 or 6 out of 10. I think, first of all, musically, it's totally in line with like I Love the Now or Everybody's on the Run. Like it's definitely
I was
in
gonna
that
say
vein.
that, like, I feel like this song musically has Oingo Boingo vibes, like the vibraphone especially.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
Yeah.
like it really has that kind of thing to it. But you have to assume that Danny Elfman would have the sense to like either cut the song or to have the lyrics be different.
You know, and
different
see, here's the
lyrics.
thing. The first verse of this song is actually, I think, pretty okay. I think especially with the I stand in the trenches, you play in, or I play in the trenches, you stand in the benches, especially because when you look at like the visual, he's obviously talking about the idea that like the Parrotheads don't quite understand what he has to go through for them. Right? That's sort of what he's implying in the music video. Because it just, for anyone who hasn't watched the music video, first of all, go look up the music video, put it on mute, because the song, ultimately, you're better off not having heard it, but just watch the visuals, because the music video is kind of insane.
It's kind of he still has the mustache. In the
Yeah,
music
he's
video.
playing. He's playing on a stage in front of a bunch of people who have parrot heads, like parrot costume heads. So pretty obvious. And then he has the line at the end of the song, which is why I asked you to watch the music video. Not only because it's insane.
I have to be 100% honest with you. I forgot to watch it. I'm watching it right now. He just took the mustache off. So
Yes.
I lied to you
When he
earlier.
says I can't be the old me no more, he takes off the mustache, which I thought was important for continuity, that you saw that he actually, at least visually, he himself acknowledges that it's a change for him. When we get to the bridge, he does a racist caricature of a Japanese person, and then he's Godzilla in the music video after that. And
well, he also at one point says "Oh massa," right?
what?
Doesn't he? Does he not do that? Am I crazy?
No, I don't think so. Jimmy does a lot of racist stuff in like cultural appropriation music wise, but I don't think he does that on this song.
Did I misinterpret this? He says "Hall monster, Hall monster."
Hall monster,
this song's
mall
way
monster.
less racist than I thought it was.
Okay.
I thought this song was way more racist.
Yeah, the only thing is just the fact that when he says "then came the Japanese," he does a Japanese voice.
Oh, that's still racist.
That's pretty
Let's be
much the
clear
only
about it.
racist thing in the song.
I thought the song was way more racist than it is.
So the other thing,
the song still sucks.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted you to see is that in that second verse when he says there ain't no harm in telling I likes to eat my melon right on down to the rind, which is obviously a terrible line, there's also a shot of Jimmy eating a giant melon, and it just like shows you how short the man is in real life, because he looks like a child the way it is shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think too much about it because I thought he was doing some sort of weird anti-black racist thing. And now I understand that I misinterpreted.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I see.
I thought this was just So I'm like, oh, okay. I really okay. This song isn't as bad as I thought it was. It's still bad. It's still really bad. Not a good first impression.
Here's the thing. This is probably one of the stronger songs on the album, and that's telling.
Yeah.
This is 100% like tops a 4 out of 10 song for Jimmy.
Really obnoxious on a number of levels, but it's got like musical things that it has like a
I like the music,
kind of country guitar.
Yeah,
that I like. Again, the vibraphones come back in it several times, and I like the vibraphones quite a lot. But it's just I don't think it's a great first impression for the album. But it does turn out that it's one of the better songs on the album. It's probably the correct choice for the opener.
I can't think of anything else that would be a better opener. Of course, because the second song on the album, which is one of 2 Jimmy solo writes on the album, is one of, and maybe even not the most sexist song on this album, but definitely one of the most sexist songs that Jimmy's written.
Yeah.
Baby's Gone Shopping.
Baby's Gone Shopping. Women, listeners, women be shopping. Am I right?
I just literally wrote awful, horrible, egregious. Jimmy decided that for some reason that the song from the last album that it should inform the entire direction of this album is "You'll Never Work in This Business Again."
Yeah, Jimmy, fuck you for this. The song's bad. It sounds bad. It has that like terrible echo effect on Jimmy's voice that I always hate whenever they're.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I listened to this album once, and then it was like, yeah, okay, I don't have anything more to. I'm not gonna get more information off of it.
I
Second
only listen to
listen.
this album. Normally, I work myself up to listen to an album at least 4 times for this podcast. I listened to this album twice. I could not bring myself to listen to it more. I listened to it for the first
I
time
did
on
a-
Saturday, and it took me like 5 days to get back into like
I did a
back into
sol-
gear to like listen again.
I did a second listen of some select songs from this album, and I listened to one of these songs 5 times.
It's just like yeah, maybe it's like it's easier to go like into critical depth when you listen to a song several times and you're able to notice like intricacies with it. But the thing is that like there's this thing that like happens especially in like video game criticism that I really dislike, where it's like if you don't like engage with something to its full extent, you can't have a valid opinion about it. And I think it's bullshit, because I think that rejection is a valid critical opinion, right?
Yeah, it's a
Like
horrible
if
song.
you're reading a book and you
Yeah.
cannot bring yourself to finish it, that is an important critical aspect that you should delve into. Like, what makes it so terrible? I think it is important to say that like this album is so bad that like we've listened to so many garbage Jimmy records. I listened to fucking One Particular Harbor like 3 times, and I barely listened to this album twice.
Yeah.
Like the album is so terrible.
And then,
Yeah,
again,
this
there's
is-
also just not much to say. Because, like,
No,
what
it's-
else can you say about Baby's Gone Shopping? He's saying, Baby's gone shopping, no more bar hopping. He's just doing the boomer, women do be shopping thing.
Women be shopping. Like, Jimmy, come on, man.
It's boomer humor. It's Jimmy's classic stuff. But also, it's not even humorous.
I think
Jimmy
I'm gonna
thinks
butt
of
all
as
that really
either
quick.
a comedian or some sort of wizened poet at this point. It's going to show in the back half of this album a lot. I really hate it, but
Really quick, I just want to say I've already convinced by our conversations that this is his worst album. We're only 2 songs in.
excellent. Let's move on to the next song. Do you remember anything about Bring Back the Magic? This is Jimmy
It
and
has
Will
Rita Coolidge
Jennings.
on it.
Oh, is this the one with Rita Coolidge on it?
Yeah, she's the. I have some notes about this one. It's really dull. This album.
Yeah,
not
this is the
bringing back
first one
magic.
that I just wrote snore.
Yeah, Rita Coolidge is on it. It has a. I wrote that. Here's my notes. I said the song inexplicably has Rita Coolidge on it. It's really dull. This album's not bringing back the magic. I don't think this is effectively one of the better songs on the album, or maybe it is, and that's the problem. The red sky at evening, red sky at dawn lines make me want violence, because there's a red sky at night and then a sailor's delight, like
Yeah.
a duet line. It's
This song hit number 24 on the AC. That is excellent timing that I say that, and all we hear is you pouring another drink.
I'm drinking 2020 Bordeaux Superior from Chateau Moulin de Ferrand. It was $17 at the corner store. I
Yeah.
am enjoying this. It's a good wine to listen to pair with discussing this album. Give me a second. I gotta take a drink. You fucking what? Say that again. This hit 22.
This hit number 24 on the AC. This was the hit.
24. I guess this is the correct one for that. It's boring. It's got Rita Coolidge on it.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense that this would be the one to do
it's
that.
not the only. I mean, the Homemade Music was the other single. It didn't chart.
No, of course Homemade Music didn't chart. I guess like this would have been like my next best guess. Like, I'm trying to think of what other if I hated myself deeply, I would have guessed King of Somewhere Hot. But this probably would have been my best guess.
Oh, King
I
of
didn't
Somewhere
guess it,
Hot
though.
would totally be like a Jimmy releasing like a double A side of Dreamsicle sort of a situation.
I don't have anything else to say about the song. This song's bad.
Great. Okay, now we have to move on to My Barracuda, which
Barracuda.
Jimmy Utley, Russ Kunkel, and guitarist Steve Cropper of Booker T and the MGs fame is on this fucking song, and it honestly,
Yeah.
it might be genuinely might be the suckiest song Jimmy's ever done.
This is so.
I was like, it's like
What's happening here is he's kind of-
concentrated fins, and it really
Yeah,
sucks.
he's like. You remember how we talked? listeners, you'll remember this from our volcano episode. When we talked about fins, we talked a lot about how, like, fins there's a reading of fins that is like a feminist reading of fins that's like, like, let's be honest about the predatory nature of male sexual desire, right? Like that is like, I don't know if it gets there. Like, it's kind of a mess, but it's also like, I can understand people having that reading of fins and like giving Jimmy that like benefit of the doubt for that one, right? My Barracuda is like that. It uses a very similar metaphor where a woman has a violent and depraved lover, but he's the only lover she's got. So, man,
There's a lot of
really-
entrapment of women on this album, isn't there?
this is like I don't know. The problem with saying that one of the songs on this album is Jimmy's most misogynistic song is that it has to compete with Morris's Nightmare, right? Which is really bad. But I think it is very, very easy to say that this is Jimmy's most misogynistic album
Definitely.
because
It's definitely the biggest theme, yeah, so far.
there's like no other album that Jimmy's ever recorded that has like more than one song that's a serious contender for the most misogynistic song Jimmy's ever recorded, and this has 3. I think it really does have 3,
Yeah.
and I'm just like,
At least 3. I really don't remember half of this album, so we'll have to wait till we get to those songs.
my candidate for the 3 are Baby's Gone Shopping, My Barracuda, and A Smart Woman in a Real Short Skirt.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about whether there's other. Oh, I did think that Pre-U might be a little bit, but that's the song.
Pre-U also is, but that song's also like got something kind of interesting.
We'll
going on.
wait till we get to that. That'll be after we flip the record.
Anyway, so this is Jimmy's most misogynistic album pretty easily.
Yeah. Also, it's like a crappy blues song, and Jimmy doesn't do blues well. Has he ever done a good blues song?
I don't.
Because like all I can think of is this, and I used to have money one time.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah,
Like,
not a great
I'd
track
have to
record for
think about
blues.
it.
Let's move on to Jimmy butchering a bunch of French in Jesse
let's talk
Winchester's
about-
L'air de la Louisiane, which I'm sure I've
L'air
also
de Louis-
butchered. I wrote Les Snore.
I think this is one of the better cuts on the album.
I do think it's one
it's
of the
really-
better cuts on the album, but also
it's really boring. There's like almost no chance I remember any of it. Like this one, even especially because like the lyrics are entirely in French, so I don't know what Jimmy's saying, and I didn't.
it's
bother
also
to look
it's
it up.
also really short. There's only two quatrains. There's only 8 lines
Yeah,
to this
so, like-
song. It's in the same vein as like Defying Gravity in that it's a short song with not much to it. I guess also in Biloxi. Jesse Winchester has longer songs and Jimmy only ever covers like the short ones. And I think it's because he just can't remember all the lyrics to the longer ones.
Every time he does Jesse Winchester, we're like, this.
No,
one's kind of
but
a mess.
the problem is that Jesse Winchester is a singer-songwriter, so he's writing things from like a personal perspective. And so of course he's going to do them better.
Anyway, I think this song
And
is like
by the way,
really boring.
this song and Defying Gravity, and I think also Biloxi are all from the same Jesse Winchester album. So maybe he only just owns one Jesse Winchester album.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think this song would be my personal pick for Ahag, just because I could not remember the song if you held a gun to my head, but I couldn't do that for most of the songs on the album. It's just that a lot of them I can remember things about, and this one, the only thing I remember about is the lyrics are in French.
Right. Okay, Biloxi is not on the same album, so Jimmy must own at least 2.
He has at least 2.
There's also
Yeah,
there's some discrepancies in the lyrics, not huge ones between the 2 songs. I think that's more largely comes down to Jimmy butchering the French.
If I was a better French like reader or speaker, I might be able to comment on that. I'm just not.
Yeah. Also, Jesse Winchester's album or song version of this, much like Biloxi, this song is like almost a minute shorter on the Jesse Winchester version, which for
why is it-
again a song with 8 lines makes more sense for it to only be like 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes. This song is 4 minutes and it has 8 lines.
I don't. It's too long. Like, it's not musically interesting. It's just like the music is pretty calm. This song would be very easily the Ahag Award on any other album, and it would also be one of the worst cuts on any other album. And it's one of the best cuts on the album.
100%. I guess then we move on to another Jimmy and Mike Utley song, Prince of Tides. And this is where I have to start by saying, Jimmy, stop fucking talking at the beginning and ending of songs. and also in the middle. Stop talking. Just sing, asshole.
He did. You know what? I liked him talking on Slow Boat to China. It's like the only time he's done it well, though.
When he's done the crooner things, because there's also like that interlude in Stars Fell on Alabama.
Yeah, he
It's
does
like
it well
those
in
are
that
the
too.
only two times. But this one, it starts off. This is a song that is probably like an okay song if you cut out all of Jimmy's bullshit at the beginning and end of this, because this is Jimmy saying, "I don't know, I can be a poet too, because people want to hear my wisdom. So I do this whole fucking poetry thing at the beginning about my dad looking out to sea, and then at the end there's gonna be a fucking, I don't know, white dolphin that comes in and takes us all to heaven or some shit." I presume this is the whimsical jimsicle you were talking about.
This is the one that I thought of as a whimsical jimsicle. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of the whole Prince of Tides thing in the middle, it's essentially like Big Yellow Taxi. It's about conservation.
So I that makes sense.
It's not great. It's not a great song.
No, this
it would
song's
be a strong
really,
song if they got rid of that, but it's not. They don't.
This song's really dull. I kind of disagree, right? I don't think the song would be all that strong without that stuff, but I had a realization on this song that really poisoned me against it musically, which was that we entered this project with the assumption that like Tropicana, like exotica music was going to be the enemy, right?
Yeah.
That like Jimmy going into the tropical modes was going to be the thing that made his music shitty. We were wrong. It was not that. It was not country music. Gulf and Western is the good shit for Jimmy, right? Like last album, he was like in Gulf, like very tropical, and it was great. The enemy is rock and roll music. Jimmy's recorded like what, like you know, like dozens of rock songs at this point, and like 3 of them are good. Like it's really like when he gets into like a rock and roll mood, the music just becomes shitty, right? And it's shitty on this song.
Yeah,
tropical rock is the enemy.
Well, because yes, again, this is the matter of like Jimmy can't do belting all that well. Like the best rock songs he's done are like Tampico Trauma, when he only really belted on like one line. It's Midnight and I'm Not Famous Yet, where he's pretty even keel for most of the song. Yeah,
I think it's 2 things, right? I think it's like one, his voice does not lend well to rock music, right? But the second thing is like I don't think his writing style is good for rock music, like his lyrical writing style. I think it just doesn't fit.
No, because he came up in that like folk and country tradition where it's better, you know, that's better for story songs. And Jimmy's good at story songs, and Jimmy's trying to do a story song here, but he's doing the rock and roll style, and it's not
like,
good.
It doesn't. This album's really dire, folks.
Yeah, is it time to flip the record?
Yeah, I'm done with this.
All right, we'll see you on side B, folks. Okay, side B opens with Pre-You, which is Jimmy, Ralph McDonald, and Will Salter, which is the same songwriting team as Creola.
I think this song is like, we talked a little bit about this song like being like one of the misogynist cuts on the album, and I think it is.
That being said, I think this is the best song on the album.
I think it is. I think it's very easily the best song on the album.
It's a new Jimmy crooner drop, you know?
Kind of. I think this is very different from Jimmy's other crooner
I
drops.
think you're right. It is closer musically to like a Honeydew rather than a Slow Boat to China, but it exists in that same realm, I think, of the way he's doing his voice.
Yeah, like I also think like it is important to note that like on almost any other album, this would definitely be one of the bottom tier cuts on the album, but like it is the best song on the album. It's like I think it's the best song on the album because it has like a genuinely interesting emotional core to it.
Yeah.
You know, which is like, you know, Jimmy sort of like recognizing that like this is the only song on the album that feels to me like, you know, it could be like a like reconciliation with Jane song, right? Like about his relationship with Jane.
Yeah, if it was younger,
if it was a younger relationship.
Well, if it was the idea that like an old flame had gotten in between. See, because like the emotional core is this idea that like Jimmy is talking about, like he still has to be around old flames to be in the place that he likes to be with his new partner. The, you know, mild sexism that comes in is just the fact that he's referring to the old flame literally in the song by name as Pre-You, as if like all women are interchangeable as long as they're the one in the relationship with Jimmy, sort of a thing. That's where the mild sexism comes in.
Yeah, it's like not it's not great, but it's really far from the worst thing on this album.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like women be shopping. It's not the sexual violence is sometimes okay. Like, and it's not like the weird, like the other one on this. Literally, he says bimbo. I don't need to hear Jimmy talk about bimbos, man. And so it's like everything about this song that I think is like good is just like comparatively good to the rest of the album.
Yeah,
It's
I think
like-
we
it's
have
like,
to
yes,
recognize we are grading these songs on a curve again. We're back to the curve. We're
Yeah,
out of
this is-
Florida as where all of a sudden things were actually like good in general for Jimmy, not just on a curve. We're back to being
yeah,
like, oh yeah, Come to the Moon is a great song. It's entirely forgettable, but it's a great song for that album, sort of a thing.
I did like Come to the Moon.
But do you
like,
remember
it's
it?
like, yeah, I kind of do. Like, come to the moon. Like, but like not before you mentioned it. No.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not gonna remember this, but also like, even in context, I like it less. Like, it's a lot
There's no
about, like,
good songs on this album, folks.
There's no good songs. There's songs that like I don't hate listening to, and then there's songs that I really, really hate listening.
Well, actually,
to.
no. There are at least two good songs on this album. They're the ones that aren't written by Jimmy, and they're not good done by Jimmy, but they're actually good done by their original artist.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Let's move along to King of Somewhere Hot.
Yes, the secret fourth steel drum song on Steel Drum Watch.
Yeah,
The backwards steel drums at the very end of that are King of Somewhere Hot, and this song has a lot of fucking steel drums. It is like
it's so
wall to
prominent in
wall
this.
steel drums.
So here's the thing about this song. Everything about this song musically is obnoxious. The prominence of the steel drums are obnoxious. The lyrics are obnoxious. Everything else about it musically is obnoxious. I don't actually hate Jimmy's vocal performance on this song. I hate the lyrics he's singing. But
Yeah,
I think his
Jimmy's
actual
doing a
performance is
restrained
okay.
thing. Yeah, the performance is
Yeah.
like, again, it's in that like pre-you in like the crooner category. He's restrained on his voice. He's singing very softly, and we have liked
Yeah.
that before.
Unfortunately, the lyrics he's singing are bad.
Unfortunately, he says the line "Life is just a beach," and it audibly made me go, "Oh, fuck off, Jimmy."
Yeah, like this song was written by
It's the Crayola team plus Robert Greenwich, the steel drum
the
player.
Crayola team
Guest.
and Robert Greenwich, and it sounds like if the Crayola team worked with Robert Greenwich to write a song. Like,
And the thing is, there were steel drums on Crayola, and they weren't bad. And the thing
no,
about
there's steel
this,
drums all over the last album, and they were fine.
the thing about this is, I think the steel drums might be the least annoying part of the song for me.
Yeah, it's I think they are objectively obnoxious, but also like everything about the song's objectively obnoxious.
The idea of saying "somewhere hot" is like, it's in the vein of like Saint Somewhere, where it's like very much like, yeah, Jimmy's just given up, and he's like, as long as I say something that sounds vaguely tropical, Parrotheads are gonna love this.
It's like
It's very
the thing is that,
calculated,
like,
you know. It
the
feels
concept
like
of like place cult that you just referred to as Saint Somewhere is like, I kind of understand like the appeal of that. Somewhere Hot just feels like somehow yet lazier.
It
than
made
Saint
sense
somewhere.
Saint Somewhere made sense in the context of boat drinks because it was somebody who just wanted to get to the tropics and get out of the fucking blizzard, right? This
Yeah,
is the
literally,
argument
like-
you made. This one is Jimmy saying, I own an island in the sea. Ooh, boy. Which island in
And
the
it-
Caribbean, Jimmy? And you're the king of it.
And it does not matter which one it is.
I think it matters which one in the Caribbean it is, Jimmy. We've seen the picture.
I don't think Jimmy owns that particular island.
Yeah, let's move on to something I can talk about, which is Great Heart.
Yeah, this is a cover of a song by South African songwriter Johnny Clegg.
Yes. How familiar are you with Johnny Clegg?
Not really, to be honest.
All
I
right,
like
well-
this one lyrically.
Okay, so yeah, so first of all, I mean, like, let's just say right at the top, the song sounds like it comes off of Graceland, and that's because Johnny Clegg is basically the reason why Graceland sounds like it. So let's get into a little bit of Johnny Clegg here. I went on a deep dive this week, listened to all of his stuff. It was
Yeah,
great.
did
I fucking threw this album off after the first listen. I was like, let's listen to all the Johnny Clegg stuff because this is great, and he's a
really quick-
super interesting figure.
I know that he's like he was an anti-apartheid figure. Do you think that did Jimmy break boycotts to like record with Johnny Clegg, or did he leave? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't think he necessarily broke boycotts. We'll talk about it. Johnny Clegg is essentially he becomes well known in the U.S. because of Graceland. And since Graceland came out in '86, makes sense by '88 he might do this. This song came out on his 1987 album Third World Child, which is his biggest international seller. We'll talk about this a bit, and I'll give you a reason why Jimmy breaking the boycott wouldn't actually ultimately be a bad thing, as per this perspective of artists in South Africa. So Johnny Clegg was born in 1953 in Britain to a British father and a Rhodesian Jewish mother. They moved back to Rhodesia, what is now in Zimbabwe, when he was 6 months old, and when he was 6, his family moved in the predominantly Jewish suburb of Yeoville in Johannesburg. Now, at the time, this is a whites-only inner-city suburb. By the late 70s and the early 80s, when Johnny is actually starting to release his music, it's going to become a so-called gray area with mixed black and white residents. Listeners, we have to understand that, like, when we say gray area, that is actually a legal term that stems from a 1948 apartheid law called the Group Areas Act, where neighborhoods in cities are actually designated white only, black only, and gray area. And it's really only in like the last decade or so of apartheid that gray areas even become a thing, and they're becoming more common as we get towards the end of apartheid in the mid-90s. So growing up in Johannesburg, he actually interacts a lot with Zulu migrant workers, including a cleaner of an apartment cleaner where he, like, in the apartment complex he lives in, by the name of Charlie Mazila. Charlie Mazila teaches Johnny Clegg the Zulu language and how to play maskandi, which is a type of Zulu folk music, on the guitar. From the age of 15, he's constantly being arrested for violating the Group Areas Act, which prohibited multiracial congregations of people after curfew. At 16, he meets a Zulu musician named Sipho Machunu, and they formed Clegg's first band, Juluka, when he's going to school at the University of Witwatersrand, where he earned a BA with honors in social anthropology. His research there focused on Zulu dance and music, and he spent 4 years, like, lecturing at an academic level on this before Juluka starts to gain a follow. Like, he publishes multiple academic papers while he's doing his music career and anti-apartheid activism on all of this stuff.
I gotta be honest, this guy sounds like he rules.
Yeah, he fucking rules. So Juluka starts to gain a following in South Africa. So here's another reason why he rules, and he brought his mentor at Witwatersrand was David Webster, who was also an anti-apartheid activist, and he got assassinated for it in 1989. So on the front lines, all these people. So the thing about Juluka is it's a biracial band, and it has musical influences that range in rock to traditional Zulu folk music to Celtic folk music. It's got lyrics in both Zulu and English. So by the time that their first album releases in 1979, they already have like a following in Johannesburg and in like the Zulu Nation areas of South Africa. And they've already like sort of been the progenitor of this world beat thing that Paul Simon's going to make big on Graceland. And when Johnny's writing these songs, he's writing songs that also draw parallels between apartheid and his Jewish roots, with titles like Warsaw 1943, like making direct connections to the Holocaust. So you can get the feel that like he's very much primed throughout his life by the people around him, including his parents, to be anti-apartheid. And his songs become increasingly political as apartheid cracks down harder, especially after the murder of Stephen Biko in 1977. That's the event that sort of gets international attention on apartheid and precipitates the cultural boycott of South Africa. So now we'll jump ahead to when Paul Simon goes to South Africa to record parts of Graceland. Juluka is the country's second biggest act after Ladysmith Black Mambazo, and it's these two groups that are like bootlegged out of the country by people around Paul Simon to get him interested in their music and go over there. He records with Ladysmith Black Mambazo on that album, but not Juluka. Juluka's actually about to break up this same year because Machunu leaves the music scene to go back to being a traditional Zulu cattle farmer. So, Paul Simon gets a lot of backlash for breaking the boycott to go record there, right? Johnny actually talks about this directly a lot, that the boycott is actually hurting a lot of South African anti-apartheid activists in the music scene, because it's not only keeping Western artists out of South Africa, but it's keeping South African artists out of the West and being able to get their message out there to other people that might be able to put political pressure on South Africa. So that's like the pro Paul Simon's stance on that controversy. So in 1986, that's when Clegg forms his second band, Savuka, with another Zulu musician named Dudu Ndlovu, whose stage name is Dudu Zulu. And they record a couple of really well-known anti-apartheid anthems. Third World Child, which is the title track from their 1987 album. Asimbonanga, which is subtitled Mandela. That was the call to release Nelson Mandela from prison. And another one was Great Heart, which is now covered here by Jimmy. Savuka split in 1992 because Dudu Ndlovu was killed in Greytown, South Africa. We don't know exactly whether he was assassinated or whether he was killed accidentally while mediating a turf war, or whether he was killed by police. Nobody knows for certain. Johnny Clegg does live long enough to see apartheid end in 1994. In 1999, then President Mandela joined Clegg on stage during a performance of Asimbonanga and danced with him, so that's fucking rad. And Johnny publishes his last academic article in actual like anthropology journals in 2006. The paper was titled "Why Don't You Sing About the Leaves and the Dreams?" reflecting on music censorship in apartheid South Africa. And he died of pancreatic cancer in 2019, but he lived a full fucking life. You need to go listen to this whole fucking album, Third World Child. It is a kick-ass album. It blows Graceland out of the water.
I'm gonna have to. This is like precisely stuff.
Anyway, Jimmy does it, and there's really no heart to it after you hear the original version. That's just a long way to say, like, Jimmy didn't deal with apartheid, so...
I feel very strongly about this as listeners. My dad's family is, like, largely South African, and my opa was arrested for apartheid and spent some time on Robben Island at one point.
Oh, shit.
So I... he was protesting apartheid in the 50s. I always like to say, like, he was so strongly against apartheid that when my parents got married in the early 90s, he offered to pay for their honeymoon on the condition that they don't go to South Africa. Because my dad initially wanted to go to South Africa because he had a bunch of family there he hadn't seen since he was a young child. And my opa was like, "You're not doing that." Right?
Right.
Like, I'll pay for your honeymoon if you go elsewhere, which is a deal they ended up taking. This is stuff I feel very strongly about, and that's kind of why I think that, like, lyrically I liked this song. But it really is clear that Jimmy does not, like, kudos on Jimmy for, like, again, supporting, like, a good cause on this one. But
yeah, you can make, like, different. You can make an amazing playlist just out of the artists that we've been introduced to through Jimmy's music so far.
Yeah, and this is one I'm definitely gonna have to check out, because, like, that's stuff that I'm interested in and, like, have a personal connection to.
I mean, that's the other thing is, like, when you listen to something like that, you sort of get the feeling that, like, Graceland, like, it has some heart to it, but you don't quite feel like, a Western artist gets it the same way that a South African artist does. I mean, obviously,
because,
Paul
like,
Simon's
Paul
not...
Simon wasn't in the...
Yeah,
he wasn't
not
in the shit, right?
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, like, Paul Simon, like, outside of, like, maybe The Boy in the Bubble a little bit, isn't really talking about apartheid in any of those songs, but he's using a lot of that music, and that music comes out of this struggle against apartheid, which is really important.
I think that's interesting because...
Do you want to do, like, a History of World Beat podcast after we're done with Jimmy? Because it does sound kind of fun.
That sounds better than this. It also sounds better than our other ideas for continuing this podcast. Like,
I do have to say, like, it's 1988. We're in the era of Bono now. So I do have to say, there's one part of me that does want to say props to Jimmy for deciding that if he was going to do a song that's explicitly about apartheid, that he wasn't going to write it himself and he was just going to use someone whose lived experience went into the lyrics and emotion of that song, and decided to do that rather than write one himself, because invariably, if Jimmy Buffett tried to write a song about apartheid, it would suck.
Yeah, I gotta say, like... So, first of all, really quick, I'm going to say some nice things about Jimmy's inclusion to this. So I want to say really quick, I think that musically this song is really obnoxious, and I think that especially Mike Utley's organ part is especially egregious. It's really annoying. But I think that like this album is very clearly like Jimmy is trying to get chart success again on this album.
Oh yeah, no,
I think
this song is definitely Jimmy trying to chase the success of Graceland.
It's him trying to chase the success of Graceland, but also like he chose like a anti-apartheid like a really political one to do that with.
Yeah,
and I kind of respect that. Like, and honestly, obviously, it's like there's problems there because he definitely is trying to like. We talked on the last episode about like Jimmy not actually like chasing Graceland success on the last album because he beat Graceland out. And this one it very clearly is, but also like I think he's going about it in a better way than a lot of people did.
Yes.
Even if the
it's
cover
very
unfortunately
true.
sucks. Anyway, this is one of the better songs on this album.
Yeah, so let's do a complete 180 here then and move to a song that was surprisingly co-written by a woman. Marshall Chapman and Jimmy wrote this. Smart woman in a real short skirt. And I wrote atrocious.
Jimmy's done a lot of songs.
Also, again, please stop talking in your songs, Jimmy.
The opening to this song, there are very few Jimmy songs that have given me so immediate a negative reaction as this one. It's so bad. It's so sexist.
I mean, this one is right down the bottom with "Please Take Your Drunken 15-Year-Old Girlfriend Home" and Morris's Nightmare.
It's really
which is
bad.
like how horrific that first impression is.
I want a smart woman, but I need to be able to ogle her. He says bimbo in the first sung line of the song. In my notes, if I heard someone playing this song in public, I would pursue them for the purpose of committing acts of violence upon their person. It's so bad.
Marshall Chapman, what the hell were you doing?
Like, what is it? Like the last
I've
time
heard your
Marshall
other music.
Chapman...
You don't want to be objectified. You've been like a strong female character here.
She's done other songs that are so much better than this. I don't know what this is. Where'd this come from?
Don't let Jimmy rule your life, Marshall.
Don't let Jimmy... listen, it's a moot point because he's dead, but...
Jimmy's subjugation lives on long after him. We have to fight this, Tom.
Let's face facts. A lot about Jimmy lives on past him. And like Jimmy's influence, his arm is long.
And as
more wine. It's bad for audio.
As we talked about in the last album, the interesting thing is that all of that legacy is not really built by Jimmy. It's built by a woman too. Like he owes his entire legacy to a woman, Sunshine Smith.
This album is insane because it's like so bad. It's so misogynist, and it's like I don't know where this came from.
Also, it's weirdly misogynist for 1988 because by that time we're definitely well into a new wave of feminism that's a little more aggressive about like women can be CEOs in the workplace and things like that. And he's very much just being like, no, I still want you to be a sex object.
Like we can't even do like Margaret Thatcher had girl power, Jimmy. We can't even do that. Come on, man.
If Jimmy wrote a song about Margaret Thatcher, I would not have done this fucking podcast.
No, like I hate Margaret Thatcher, but like we can't even have like this weird, insane, like pro-capitalist feminism. Like what's happening? I don't know. This song sucks. Let's talk about the last song on this album so we can stop talking about this album.
Well, at the very least, that's what "Living" is to me. Is the last song of the album is mostly forgettable, which is better than the last song.
I think this is the real AHAG of the week because like I just like I'm gonna be honest. I listened to this song like only a little bit more than an hour ago, and I don't remember it.
I remember it only because it's yet another song where I was like, Jimmy, just don't fucking talk at the beginning of your song. Just start the song. Because he goes on this whole monologue about Mark Twain. And obviously then in the like bridge, he tries to make do wordplay out of Mark Twain's name and is really forced and terrible. But like he doesn't need to fucking talk about what Mark Twain said. Just say it in the song and give them credit, motherfucker. Can you imagine how much worse Godzone Drunk would be if he started off by saying, Lord Buckley gave a comedy monologue in 1959 about drinking with the bear, and in it he said that whiskey tasted like honeydew vine water, and that really spoke to me. So now I'd like to do that monologue for you all now, so you can feel the magic of that honeydew vine water. It would suck so much.
You know what this is? You know what this is? He's trying to capture the effect of having like a pre-song like spiel in a live recording.
Yeah, I know.
That's what this is, and it sucks because like it's good in live music. Listen, I saw a live show just this last week where Mr. David Byrne of the Talking Heads did a number of pre-song little spiels that I thought were great and hilarious.
We've gone through 2 live recordings of Jimmy. In a couple weeks, we're about to do our 3rd live recording of Jimmy. In both of those, we've gotten quite a bit of pre-song spiels.
And none of them are this bad.
None of them are anything like the ones that he's been doing on this album. Jimmy has very much moved away from... You remember what... Tom, remember that nostalgic time when Jimmy was doing, like, weird closers and they were all good? Or at least fun? And now, like, it seems like every closer's the fucking AHAG award. Like, let me just say... Okay, now Beyond the End, I think, is the only closer we've had in a while that's been the AHAG, but they've all been close or bad.
Can I just say, like, Jimmy's 1980s has been extremely bizarre and confusing to me. When we started this, I was ready to like accept that like Jimmy's 70s were going to be better than his 80s, but like Jimmy's had a couple of really banger, like surprisingly like listenable albums in the 80s, and like just like a lot of stuff that's like so much worse that it's like, how is this the same guy who wrote White Sport Coat? It's the same man.
Jimmy was like, I'm aiming for the same average album score this decade, but I've decided instead of consistency, I'm going for the extremes.
There's this really good video essay that came out, I think last year, maybe the year before, that I really like by Dan Olson Folding Ideas. I have a lot of respect for that gentleman. And it is called I Don't Know James Rolfe, right? And it is a video essay about the angry video game nerd and about like just sort of wondering about the inexplicable artistic decisions of another person and having to deal with the fact that like even though he's been watching the angry video game nerd for like 20 years and knows a lot about them and has been obsessed with him for like months at that point, he does not know the man James Rolfe. And like I have never felt less like I understood the man Jimmy Buffett than I do right now.
Yes,
like
we do not know Jimmy.
We don't know Jimmy, right? Like, and like, very seriously, like this album sucks because it feels like Jimmy shaved off his mustache because it was an image problem, right? It anchored him to the 1970s in a way that he did not want to be anchored in an image anymore because he wanted a very particular, very cleaner image than he had previously. And this is what that image looks like, and this is what that image sounds like, and it's terrible. This is like, we talked about Hot Water. I had a theory that Hot Water was going to be a big turning point for Jimmy because he shaved his mustache off. And that was a joke at the time. And now I feel like it's not a joke because like very seriously, it is a reallocation of focus for Jimmy into a particular like image and a particular sound, and the sound sucks. And the image is based on selling concert tickets and soon on tickets to Margaritaville resorts. Like, listeners, just really quick, I just want to give you a little sneak peek into our lives as Jimmy Buffett podcasters. We're still like we have 3 more albums until we are halfway done with this podcast. I don't know how to feel about this. I won't be shocked if Jimmy comes out with like an album that I find is shockingly listenable, like surprisingly good, because I don't know Jimmy, right? I can't predict him anymore. I just don't know him. If he comes out with an album that I find is like surprisingly fine, that's whatever. I really desperately hope that Jimmy never comes out with an album that's this bad again, because it's really like, I don't know how to handle it. It's really upset me, like genuinely.
Shall we move on to the, what other people had to say about this album? I am curious as to see what the, All Music has to say about this album. I don't
Here's
know.
What I've got.
I don't know how they could pull back.
All Music review. Here's the All Music review by William Rollman, our frequent guest on this segment, William Rollman of All Music.
Come on, Billy. Have a good opinion for once, please.
I think that he's not as negative as us, but I think he's right here. I'm going to read this review in full. Jimmy Buffett's popular success with Margaritaville tended to silence the criticisms of the music industry that he had expressed on such albums as Living and Dying in Three Quarters Time, e.g., the plea for airplay that was saxophone. But by the time he released his 15th studio album, Hot Water, in 1988, Buffett had been off the radio, even as his concert revenues steadily increased, for a long time, and he was ready to complain again on the LP's lead-off track, and amazingly, its single, Homemade Music, which began with the declaration, "I ain't no video king." The homemade music on the disc, featuring a long list of session musicians and star guests, tended more toward a funky jazz pop than some other Buffett releases, and as usual, there were a few well-written songs and at least one stellar cover, longtime Buffett favorite Jesse Winchester's L'air de Louisiane. South African singer-songwriter Johnny Clegg's Great Heart is another good song too, of course, but Buffett's claim on it seemed tenuous.
Okay, I definitely agree with that.
Prince of Tides was a partially recited musical rendering of the Pat Conroy novel of the same name for the literally inclined singer, while Pre You was a cute lyrical idea. But also, as usual, Hot Water was uneven, with some songs it seemed just wrote, resulting in another half-baked effort that didn't seem to justify its demand for popular recognition. I think that last line is really like the reasonable take on this album. It is clear that Jimmy is aiming for chart success in a way he hasn't in several albums, and it really is like kind of a sad, impotent attempt.
Yeah, 100%.
Kyle, I want you to make me extremely upset now by reading what Some Idiots has to say about this album.
Okay, well, let's rewind the clock 26 years to June of 2000. And I got this review by Parrotheads. And Tom, let me tell you what, let me just brace you. If there ever was a review that was going to make you disagree with every single sentence in that review, with no exceptions, it would be this one. This disc is like the continuing adventures of Floridays. The calypso sound is prevalent here more so than the previous album, and surprisingly, that's wrong.
That's not correct. That's not correct.
There's just one problem. There's just one problem with Hot Water. Homemade Music. What would you say if I told you that song was chosen to be the first release single from this album? Baby's Gone Shopping is a fair recovery from the lead track and brings Frank and Lola to mind. There isn't much to say about Bring Back the Magic, I agree, except that it is a very good song, I don't agree. The same is true about My Barracuda. Both, dude, tell me if you want to tap out of this review, and I'll just go straight to the Coronas.
No. I want you to read this whole review.
Okay, both songs almost sound as if they are the next set of doors into the private life of the head parrot. The latter being metaphorical. Yeah. L'air de la Louisiane is an intoxicating cover of the Jesse Winchester original, and Pre You is a nice background song.
What?
King of Somewhere Hot seems to start a new genre of music with its Gulf rock sound.
Huh?
The rest of the album is an exotic inferno of world music. The rest of the album. Filled with heavy...
Smart woman in a real short skirt.
Filled with heavy Caribbean rhythms, these 4 remaining songs will nearly melt your CD player. King of Somewhere Hot, the cover of Great Heart, and Smart Woman in a Real Short Skirt all show just how skilled Robert Greenidge is at playing the pan and are a musical testimony that proves Robert to be the best pan player in perhaps the whole world. The perfect ending to a near-perfect album can be found in the final song, That's What Living Is to Me. Not only does it make up for the opening track, it is possibly the most truthful song ever written by anyone. It is The Pirate Looks at 40 for the 1980s. Score 5 of 5 Coronas. I think Tom might be on the floor having a panic attack right now.
I'm not mad. I'm like speechless. Like,
and by the way, he is in the minority of the Parrotheads. A lot of them seem to really dislike this album for more than just homemade music.
Head Parrothead, can I talk to you alone for a minute? Head Parrothead, this part's for you. If you're not Head Parrothead, can you plug your ears for like, I don't know, like next like 10 seconds or so? I think you deserve better than this, man. Like, you can do better. You can listen to better music. You don't need to settle for this. You don't have to. You can do better. I'm not mad at Parrothead this week. I'm sad for them. Like this is not like rage inducing for me. This is like pathetic.
Yeah,
Like, come on.
seems to be a recurring
do better.
theme. Is it too hard on you to ask you to immediately pivot to Steel Drum Launch?
No, let's talk about it.
He went Jimmy, looking for steel drums bothering him so. Well, steel drum killed his lady, left him with only one question. Which way do I steer for my steel drums?
I talked a lot about this on the little like rant I had on Prince of Tides. I really feel like this album made my brain coalesce around the idea that the rock music is the enemy, right? Because it's like I think it must be because we're coming off of Florida Days where it was like such a tropical heavy album, so much exotic instrumentation, so much steel drums, congas, bongos, and they were all like great, right? Like
Yeah.
I love that album, like genuinely, last song excluded. Also, listeners, by the way, little update. My partner Eliza had a good point, which is that instead of buying a vinyl copy of this album and then defacing it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to obtain the album digitally, extract all the tracks except for the last song, and then burn that onto my own CD of it. And then I'll have the perfect Jimmy album, essentially, like the good one, like
That's
the best one.
that's how you gotta listen to it.
That's how you got to listen to it. And that album's so like it uses all of that stuff so good. And this album is like it's really confusing to me, like genuinely, because it has like, there's a lot of horns on this album. The horns are bad. There's a lot of congas on it. They're obnoxious. Robert Greenidge is on so many songs, and like it's weird because he was on so many songs on the last album, and I didn't find any of those particularly objectionable. And on this song, every time he shows up, I feel like he's a cockroach. Like, there's so much rock music on this. There's also country music. Like, sometimes there's like a nice crunchy country guitar on the first track, and it sucks. Like, there's a steel guitar on the first song, and it sucks.
I can articulate part of the reason why it sucks. I wanted to bring this up, actually. It was supposed to be my segue to boat drinks, but I wanted to bring this up in Steel Drum Lodge. The other thing that Jimmy does in 87 and 88 is that he'll occasionally play with Robert Greenidge's own band, the Desperados. The Desperados were a 52-piece steel drum orchestra.
I don't...
Okay, I have given you a panic attack now.
I don't know what to say about that. Keep talking.
That's all I have to say about that. So let's just head into boat drinks.
Boat drinks. I think I got boat drink fever. Beatrice, I drank 6 more boat drinks. 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 Somebody sound the alarm.
Which is...
Hold on, stop. Shut the fuck up. That's not a segue. That was like you slammed the brakes and then you like opened the door and you said, "Let's take a walk." That's not a segue. That's different. That's not like the scene transition. That's like the movie ended, the credits played, and then you started another movie.
No. This is not me. This is not me putting on the brakes and then saying, "Let's take a walk." This is me putting on the brakes on the side of a bridge and saying, "I'm strapping concrete shoes to you and dropping you over the edge." There are no boat drinks on this album. There are no drinks. Zero.
For the first time since
High Cumberland Jubilee. Yep. That's it. I do have one thing to say. Is this something that Jimmy did in 1987? He wrote a commercial radio jingle for Corona Extra Beer. So this is a little extracurricular Jimmy I had to listen to this week. I do not recommend seeking this out. You can find this on YouTube, but it's a wasted minute of your life, and you'll be worse for it.
I'm not going to do that.
So Corona Extra Beer had been sponsoring their tours the last couple of years, since 85, I think. He wrote a commercial radio jingle for Corona Extra Beer, and that commercial was immediately shelved. It is a full minute-long ad sung by Jimmy about the beer, with the Coral Reefers doing a song in the background that I can only describe as Morris's Nightmare, but he went to Mexico instead. Now, the Coconut Telegraph says that the project was shelved because, quote, Corona has become the number 2 imported beer and is now available in 31 states. Any aggressive advertising would create a demand that could not be met, and I think that is entirely a coping mechanism on the part of the Parrotheads for their beloved Jimmy having his shitty commercial shelved.
They argued that the commercial was too good; it was going to sell too much beer.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Now you mentioned an interesting theory about this to me in our a private discussion, which is that it's indicative of he's not drinking as much, which is part of his reconciliation with Jane.
Yes, and that was something that was told to us by Sunshine Smith. It's something that seems to be true based on the fact that it seems like he's reconciled at least somewhat with Jane by this album. And it's going to definitely be true by the time of his... Oh, no, wait, hold on. There's one in 89. I was going to say by the time of his next studio album, but it's not the next studio album necessarily. We'll see if there's more evidence there.
The thing is that, like, Boat Drinks is, like, over, and, like, we just get music like this because Jimmy stopped drinking. Like, that's fine. If shitty music is the price for, like, somebody getting out of, like, a bottle, I'm fine with that, right? It sucks for us because we got to listen to all the shitty music. That's a price I'm willing to accept for that, right? Unfortunate that we have to do a podcast about it. We also know for certain that, like, you know, as the 2000s, as the new millennium progresses, Jimmy does, like, pick up a different vice to be, like, the vice, which is marijuana, right?
Oh, yeah,
Obviously,
he goes
he's been
back to
smoking
smoking,
for forever, but, like, his last album's literally called Equal Strain on All Parts, and the cover of it has a picture of him with a pipe. He has a song called My Gummy just kicked in.
That was the song he wrote with Paul McCartney. Yeah, this is definitely Jimmy trying to look clean for the radio.
It is Jimmy trying to look clean, and it's like...
I don't know. I mean, like, that could probably be a facet of, you know, the PRMC at this point. We've got the album Off to See the Lizard to look forward to for next week.
Indeed, we do have Off to See the Lizard. That's going to be it for us this week on Discography Wasting Away 2026.
We will see you guys next week when we're back for Off to See the Lizard. But for now, I've been Kyle.
I've been Tom.
And we will see you guys next week. Play us out, Jimmy.
Wasting away again, away again. Wasting away again, away again. And Margarita the bed. It's my own downfall.